Good morning. I know it ain't morning, man. Don't worry about that. I just always say good morning, man. Welcome back. Always ready. I hope you ready for the day, because we ready. Stay ready. That way you ain't got to get ready. So anyway, let's get into it. Make sure that if you haven't already, man, you follow us, podcast, check us out, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Make sure you visit us online, alwaysready.com. More information. You can find out about our Thursday evening trainings, our live trainings. Tap in. Man, we got some really, really good stuff. But man, it's some heavy things on today, man. That's going around over the last couple. It's been a busy week and a busy day, man.
Right.
Just came across the ticker. Guys, listen. You guys know that I haven't been watching that much TV, right? So I gotta look at the ticker that come across. And when I seen that the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
NBA, this is the playoffs, right? Everybody excited. NBA came back. Didn't know if it was going to happen early summer. NBA came back. They in the bubble. But a lot's been going on in the bubble, man. A lot's been going on in the bubble. But today, they canceled the playoff games.
Yeah.
Holy smokes.
Mm-hmm.
Cancel the playoffs game. Now, for a very somber reason, again, if you guys have been following us, you know we've been talking about all of the challenges and all of the unfortunate happenings that's going on in the world. And there's been another incident that we're going to hit on. And it's interesting, man, the NBA, right? The question was, do we go forward and finish out our season or not? Do we hold back because, we can use this time to continue to protest and, fight for racial injustices. And so the players in the league, they thought, hey, let's move forward.
Yep.
Because we can utilize our platform and we can put Black Lives Matter on the court and we can put statements on the back of our jerseys and we can use our dollars and proceeds to fund different causes. And yeah, here we are.
Mm-hmm.
Here we are with another incident that from the looks of it, the onset, it doesn't look good. It doesn't look good for anybody. So talk to me, man. What's going on? I mean, we got a couple of things to break down here, but let's first break down the incident that happened, and then let's come back, man, and just dive in. What's the NBA is doing, and
right.
Was their decision right?
Yeah, it's kind of hard to divide them because obviously the NBA is motivated by what happened. But again, you have another unarmed black man who was shot, I believe, 7 times and somehow by the grace of God survived, which I think if he had a pass, then it could have been real crazy. But some of the reports say that he's paralyzed from the waist down. I believe his dad came out and said it's like 8 holes in his son's body. You know what I mean? And they had to remove a couple organs or whatnot. And I've seen a lot of different posts with people saying, hey, if he had just complied and listened and it wouldn't have got to that point. And, I heard whether it was LeBron or different people say, listen, they could have tackled him, right? They could have subdued him. It was 3 or 4 officers. And so when you get to the point, the whole question is, why does it have to go to the point where you have to shoot someone because they're not listening and complying to you? Him walking away, whether they felt it was a threat. Somebody said he went to his car and he could have been getting something, but he had 3 kids in the car. I believe 3, 8, and 12 were the ages, somewhere in that range. So you got 3 kids in the car. Maybe you were checking on your kids, maybe not. And yes, officers are asking you to stop, but it's still you don't have to shoot somebody in that particular situation. And so here it is again, where another unarmed black man gets killed. And so it sparks the conversation again.
Is it official that he was unarmed, right?
They say
he hadn't done on his person,
right.
But if he was going in the car, right. I don't know if they.
Yeah, I didn't get that far. I know when he got shot, he didn't have anything. Yeah. So I'll say it that way, on his person. But now again, we're back to the conversation is, what are we supposed to do? This is wrong. And so now this is where we are with the NBA. deciding to, and the players deciding to postpone and or not play today. So it started on Wednesday, where the Detroit Lions decided to cancel practice, and they all protested outside of the facility. They did that, and then there was a couple other little small things going on. But today, the Milwaukee Bucks, because they're close with Wisconsin and everything, the Milwaukee Bucks come out and say, hey, we're not playing. So that game gets canceled. Then the Houston Rockets versus Oklahoma City, that gets canceled. Then obviously the Lakers in Portland gets canceled. And they're making a statement. So you got a lot of people talking right now. Because I know you got a lot of insight. Here's what I want to say, though, and thinking about what does that mean? Guys stop playing, because I was thinking about it beforehand. Okay, you stop playing for a day or two, and then you get back to work, say, on Saturday. But what does stopping do for anything other than, hey, they're not playing because this happened, they want to see some justice happen? And to put it as tightly as I can, it's stop what you're doing and do the right thing, right? Stop what you're doing and do the right thing. And there are so many people listening to my voice and will be listening to your voice that see it, but it's not enough to actually stop working and say, this is wrong. We have to figure out a way to do something. If the right people stop working, there's going to be some people that lose money, and those people will then say, okay, this must be an issue strong enough for my top people to stop, so we need to do something about it. And until the people at the top of the mountain make it a priority to see to it that these things don't happen, they will continue to repeat themselves. So you have to literally, a life is more important than what I got going right now. And so I see a lot of complaining, a lot of, hey, here we go again, the whole Black Lives Matter. Like, I get it, but somebody should not be shot. White, black, but specifically we're talking about, you should not be shot walking away from a police officer. It just shouldn't happen. And so all of us have to take a step back, stop what we're doing, and to your point, what you said earlier, use your platform as best as you can, all right, to bring more light, to shed more light on this issue. The players are like big on, hey, go vote, go vote, go vote. But I really believe at a smaller level, you can use your position, whether it's social media, whatever it may be, to bring some light to these crazy issues.
Yeah. And what's crazy is, man, to your point, like when you talk about the top, the people at the top, until they make it a priority, it's gotta start in the criminal justice system too, though. You know what I mean? Like, because everybody kind of got their own jurisdiction. Like, look at the Breonna Taylor piece. You know what I mean? Like, they still moving. Like, nothing, no justice has been, you know what I mean, brought in that case.
Right.
You know, the George Floyd piece, like, okay, yeah, a couple things happened, but like that's still ongoing. Like, people, like, you know what I'm saying? And the hammer isn't coming down.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so I get it. Like, you know, we both have a lot of friends that are police officers, you know, and in that line of work, and I commend all of those dudes, you know what I mean? Because that's a line of work that I probably couldn't endure day in and day out, you know what I mean? Having that stress and that responsibility, and, you know, and I get it, their lives is on the line. And so, yeah, like, hey, if somebody going in their car you don't know, and I'm not making this situation particularly, making any excuses here, but I'm just saying there's a lot of unknown that you're dealing with, and I get that. But at the same time, I definitely feel that there's a, you know, lack of respect for the law, meaning like they feel like, yo, we are the law.
Right.
You know, so I am above the law, you know? And I can do almost what I want to. I mean, I don't want to get like crazy with it, but it's like, I mean, if you as a civilian shoot a police officer, like, you under the jail, you know what I mean? Or
Sure.
they probably gonna kill you, but you know, if you have,
sure.
you know what I'm saying? Like, you under the situation. And I'm not saying that that's what it comes to, but I'm just saying, like, there has to be like some level of fear and or respect or something of the magnitude that an officer is consciously thinking about. You know what I mean? Why they out protecting and serving? Otherwise, man, this stuff is gonna keep happening. This is black, white, like this is across the board. You know, like when you become an officer, man, your judgment, it has to be different. You know what I mean? Especially in today's age and light, man. And I just feel like, man, what's going on right now is too lenient because it's different. You know, it's different for every state. Every city may have different, you know what I mean, protocols and the way they do things. Like something needs to be standardized across the board. And that's when you talk about the top. Until they make it a priority from top down, then, you know, we're going to continue to have these situations, man.
I want to share two quick things. One, I was reading about NBA players and professional athletes and or people in their local communities with a little bit of influence or platforms, sort of like we have, where there are black athletes and those people in positions of power that are fearful and hesitant to be a little bit louder on speaking out on injustice, specifically because they know that police officers where they're from are listening. And so if I say the wrong thing, what if I get pulled over? What if they recognize me? What if a white officer recognizes me as somebody who's speaking out on these issues and now gives me a hard time? And these guys that like on the higher platform, they're really concerned like, hey, we got a national platform. Yo, like we don't, like my mom is calling me, not my mom, but their mom calling, hey man, be careful about what you say because you gotta get outside that bubble and go back to your communities and they're gonna know exactly what you're saying and how you're saying it. Like people are literally nervous about speaking up about wrongdoing. I mean, I know we're not, and I know we have relationships with law enforcement and different things, but the problem is wrong, and it's not enough people talking about it. And I'll take that back. It's not enough people doing something about it. So I am tired of people talking about it. It's not enough people that are able to do something about it. And it starts with conversation. Hey, what can we do? What can we do? What can we do? Yeah, listen, I give full-blown action steps when people ask me what we can do. I wanted to share this, though, because this is something that, now I'm not going to put any names behind it, but I was asked to speak to a company in Columbus, Ohio. They reached out to me and said, hey, we would love for you to come in and speak to our company. Our company is like 99.9% white. I believe they have no black employees. They asked me to come out and speak. They said you could do a Zoom presentation. I said, okay. We started talking, and this is what we do for a living, right? So if you're a plumber or a doctor or whatever you do, you never walk into a doctor's office and say, hey, by the way, I know I need this $50,000 surgery. Can you do it for free? Right. And so when you're a professional speaker and you go out, or you're a keynote speaker, you encourage people, you're a solution to people's problems is why they're bringing you in. A lot of time the expectation is, hey, can you come and do me a solid and help me out? And so I went down the list of how we normally do things, and they came out and said, hey, I said, okay, well, let me know what your budget is. You want me to come speak on the biggest issue that your company has seen and this country has seen in 50 plus years. Mm-hmm. I'm the very first person of color to be able to come in and speak to your company about these things. It's been about 3 or 4 months since George Floyd has passed away. Now you figured out, okay, we need to have somebody come in and express their experience as a black person, come in and share with our company to everyone. Mm-hmm. We don't have nothing to pay you. We don't have a budget for you. But we want you to come in and give a full presentation for 1 hour, mm-hmm. And give your heart and soul to our company and expose us to what it means to be black and some of your experiences so we could have a better understanding. To which I replied to them and said, hey, thanks for considering me. But one of the primary things that we are dealing with, that I'm dealing with them real time, is you don't understand the value. You don't understand value. Where I not only am I bringing a certain value in educating you and giving you solutions to what you're dealing with as a problem. I've got a full strategy on how to get young black people to be in position to be with your company because you have none. But now you're saying my time is not valuable and I'm not valuable enough to actually have a budget in place to have somebody who's going to empower and impact your entire company. Mm-hmm. It was the most craziest thing. So I got out of my comfort zone. You know, I really don't really like confrontation like that.
Uh-oh.
Got out of my comfort zone, had a phone call conversation and an email dialogue. And to make a long story short, I basically laid that out for him. And as best and classy and professional as I possibly could.
I need to see that. I need a double spell check.
Now, they passed it on because I wrote it for the higher ups. This is who I was targeting in this conversation. The higher ups didn't hit me back. But the second person above the person that contacted me hit me back and basically said, hey, we appreciate your perspective. And we thank you for sharing. We don't have a budget, so we won't be able to work with you on this particular project. Thank you. Like word for word, pretty much. Mm-hmm. And to me, that's where we are, where, again, people are checking off boxes. If I can get a black person to come in and share their story, I've done my part. If I send an email out as a company and put our logo on top of it, say we're about all lives and black lives do matter, I've done my part. If I host one Zoom call with 2 black people that I know from the community to educate us on their experience being black, I've done my part. It doesn't stop there. Like you got what I said earlier, you have to stop what you're doing and do the right thing. Start shutting things down that people care about. And then all of a sudden, the people with the real influence will take you serious. Yeah. And so I went through that real time. I'm like, man, it was the biggest insult, dog. Like, I want you to come in and speak to my company. I know what you do. I know what you bring to the table. Nah, we don't have this is how I make a living. You know what I mean? Like, no, just come in and do it because you should come talk to us because you're a black man. So I know you want to come speak. Like, no, I don't want to come talk. Because we in the trenches, we got work to do. I would rather be serving in the community than going to speak to your company for an hour and you have 0 black employees and don't have a plan in place to do it.
And he talked about is the value piece, man. You know what I'm saying? It's the value, man. Like underestimating the value, and that goes across the board. But obviously in this particular case, like underestimating the value and the value of what it could bring to those employees, into that organization, like having a different perspective, you know, like even having, I mean, you can, okay, yeah, they're 99.9% white, but I guarantee you that some of those folks are feeling the issues at hand. Mm-hmm. They want to do something. They're at an organization that they probably are racking their brain. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, to make that investment and bring somebody in that will challenge their way of thinking, or challenge their perspective, could increase what they do as a company. It could, improve camaraderie. It could improve, the environment and the atmosphere and the resiliency. But to your point, they don't understand the value, and that's that's unfortunate. I think, kind of taking this back to the NBA, and what happened specifically with the playoff game, they understand the value, right? Mm-hmm. Like playoffs is prime time now. Mm-hmm. You know, everybody's watching playoff NBA. Mm-hmm. Like, you know what's crazy? Like, what is this? Into August? Like, in any other year, of course, NBA wouldn't be happening, basketball will be over, but this is like football territory right now.
Right.
Like, everything will be football. Preseason, what's going on? Everybody getting their drafts, their
fantasy football.
The fantasy football going. Like, it will be jumping right now. Bro, I haven't heard a lick.
About football.
I haven't heard nothing.
I don't know what's going on.
I'm like, are they having a season? Like, you haven't heard nothing because the NBA, and rightfully so. It's the playoff time. This is crunch time.
Right.
Win or go home time. But the NBA and the players, said, look, we understand our value, and we tried to bring our value to the forefront initially, and made this decision to play and put Black Lives Matter on the courts and stuff on our jerseys, but now we see the value of, you know what, we're gonna take that away. Yep. We're going to take that away for a night, you know what I mean, and use our power elsewhere. And so they just, understanding the value. So I commend that move, you know what I mean, from those players and from the NBA to, like you said, stop what you're doing and do the right thing. But to your point is, okay, what next?
Yeah.
Right? Okay, so tomorrow we just pick it back up and everybody watches, the rescheduled games, and we keep it going, or whatever. And I know we're not going to solve this overnight.
Right,
like, so we get that, and we're not going to be naive about that. But it's just sad, man. It's sad that it just continues to just pile up. Just continues to pile up, and they seem like the situations, they're not getting any better. Like, it's not even getting. It's disappointing, man.
So what I'm looking for, and what they started to do today with the NBA, I'm looking for sacrificial success. Like, I'm not looking for hard work and got me success. I'm talking about a different type of sacrifice. That's what I'm looking for. The NBA, the players right now, I'm sacrificing today, right? I'm sacrificing this game that I love. I've been working since I was a little kid. I'm giving that up because we need to bring attention to this. So now everybody's going to be talking about it. It's swirling around again. When they get back to playing, they'll still be talking about it. But I need that same thing from CEOs and executives. Like, if you listening right now, CEOs, executive managers, general managers, like, what are you doing to make a difference, right? Stop what you're doing, the day-to-day, the bottom line, and do the right thing. It's so simple. And so if you're making a sacrifice, if the players is like, we're going to give up our pay today or the TV revenue, we don't care about none of the bottom line, you make a sacrifice. So the value of Jacob Blake's life is like, yo, it's valuable enough. Any other innocent black person that was killed by the police, this is valuable enough for me to sacrifice to get the success we need moving forward. That's what I was talking about, even from a speaking figure out a way to sacrifice, you know what I'm saying, your profit and loss or your bottom line, because it's valuable enough to get somebody of color, a black man to come in and speak on a certain issue. Same thing, whatever your position is, sacrifice for a day, sacrifice for a week. Hey, shut things down. Look, we can't even operate because the world is so screwed up. We're going to use our platform to make a difference. If you own a sub shop, stop making subs. Just stop making subs a day, or make all the subs and go give them to people that need it.
Make them black. Make the bread black.
Black olives everywhere. Just all olives. Burn up the bread. Yeah. Wheat bread only.
It's crazy.
Is wheat bread black bread?
It's brown. It's still color.
Hey man, that's crazy. Listen, we need that, man. LeBron.
But it has to be something continuous. You know what I mean? And I think that's the hard part.
Yeah.
You know, especially for organizations. Like, okay, yeah, we can do something. At the end of the day, we still got to get to our core function. We still got to make money. We still got hundreds of employees. We still got to operate. You know, right? Like, or else nobody gonna be it. So I understand that too, right? But it doesn't have to be nothing crazy big. Like it's just got to be something small,
and it just let it grow.
Consistent.
Absolutely.
Consistency is the key. Resilient, you know, being resilient, never, you know, not giving up on the situation, right? Just because it gets a little tough, it gets a little challenging, I'm sacrificing, and that's hard. Like resilient, and then taking accountability, man. Like that's another. Like we all have to take accountability for these situations that happen.
Yep.
Like somewhere, I haven't even processed it enough yet, but somewhere deep down, to your point, is we got to say, man, I got to be accountable. Like how can I be accountable to what happened, right. To Jacob, right? Like, how can I be accountable? It ain't my fault.
Right.
I'm not taking blame, but I got to take accountability and responsibility.
Right.
Like, what can I do to say, and that might just be, like you said, using your platform. It's coming on, and you know what? We're going to take accountability, and we're going to make sure we mention it right here. Because somebody's watching that maybe wouldn't look deeper into it. You know what I mean? So this is our opportunity to at least share it. But going back to the NBA and the bubble, you know, what's crazy is I'm like, okay, you know, guys taking off, but they can't even, you know, and it started with Milwaukee. So when I first saw Milwaukee, I was like, okay, cool. You know, maybe back to the protest, kind of like with George Floyd and cats going out. I'm like, well, they can't even do nothing.
Can't do nothing.
Like
in the bubble.
You just in there. Like you can take off, but like what you gonna do?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I was like, that's crazy because, you know, it's still the playoffs. Now if you leave, now you got to come back in quarantine
for 4 days.
You know what I mean?
5 days.
Okay, where's the sacrifice worth? Now that the whole league is doing that, you know, it's just crazy. And if you look at Paul George, you know what I mean? You look at the situations that's just happening inside of the bubble anyway. It's like, man, dudes, this might have been like dudes just needed a little break and need a little outlet. Like cats is going crazy in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that was a good pickup, a little point there, because one of the things, and so I get it. So Paul George, who all NBA defensive guy, $35 million a year, you know, 25. He averaged 20 million. He averaged 28 points a game last year. You know what I mean? Just an all-star. But for the last 3 games, or for 3 games leading up to the Wednesday night game, he had a total. He had a total like 25 points in 3 games. Yeah. All right, he averaged like 25 a game, but he had 25 in 3 games combined. So he comes out on Wednesday night.
PG-13.
He balls out.
He was like G-rated.
They called him his nickname is Playoff P, and not so much.
Not so much.
But it was funny until he had 35 on Wednesday. Yeah. He gets in the interview. He's like, look, I'd taken mental health for granted. He was like, I misjudged the weight of that mental health conversation. Now, Kevin Love of the Cleveland Cavaliers came out a year ago and was like, yo, I deal with a lot of different things, depression, like, as an athlete. And he's like, man, being in this bubble, like I'm anxiety, like depression, like I just feel, I don't feel like I'm myself, anxiety, like just, I'm all over the place. He's like, I just tapped out. He's like, I just ain't want to be here no more. Like, I just didn't have it. And you're like, man, 35 million NBA, you get paid to do this. But being in that environment, not being able to move to your point and come and go, and then you on the inside and you see stuff like this happening, you can't do anything about it. And so you trying to figure out, and all you guys are social media, but you know what I mean? You got to focus on the games and you can't. And so he was like, man, I couldn't even function. And so to your point, a lot of these guys and being in that environment affects people so many different ways. But to that point, we've learned that guys want to get outside the bubble. And so what I'm saying is people in their small little household bubbles, companies in their small little company bubbles, organizations in their small little organization bubbles with their mission statements need to get outside of that and go do something to make yourself uncomfortable and the people on the outside uncomfortable, because as long as you inside that structure and inside that building, you're kind of like protected, right? And you don't know how the people on the inside are acting or not acting. That's why you can get somebody that will lose their job for speaking up because they're like, man, y'all ain't been doing nothing, so I had to say something. You know what I'm saying? So you got to get outside that bubble, man, and stop being on the inside, man.
So it's crazy, like you said, Paul George, $35 million a year. And of course, NBA, I'm sure a lot of those players are making decent money. But $35 million, you got $35 million. All you got to do is go play the sport you love,
right? Day
in and day out. You got free food, Wi-Fi, haircuts, get to sleep in the hotel. Like $35 million. All you do is just stay in a bubble for a few months, and guys are losing their minds. And when you think about it, and you say, the bubbles that we live in, our own bubbles, in our own life. Like I know dudes getting paid way less.
Yeah.
And in a lot more stress, you know what I mean? They at a job they can't stand.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, and can you imagine what that mental health looks like? Could you imagine their bubble, their lives, their world? You know what I mean? Sometimes, look, I think with a 7-month-old and a 3-year-old and work and fan, like trying to my bubble be crazy.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But and this is what I try to tell people all the time. You got people at the highest level doing what they love, making a ton of money, and inside their own bubble, they are depressed and miserable. You know what I'm saying? Stressed. So, we can't take that. We can't take that for granted. And it's interesting for guys like Paul George that spoke up, and I appreciate him just kind of sharing that because it gives you perspective. Because right, you could look at your life and be like, oh, okay, if he tripping, then okay, well, I don't feel as bad. You know what I mean? Because he shouldn't have no complaints. Yeah, he can't drive his Lamborghini for a couple months. All right, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But it's real life. You know what I mean? And we still got emotion. We still people. We still humans. But what's crazy is when you think about this, I wonder how this situation, now that it's going to continue to gain some exposure, right? Like, how is this going to affect guys like Paul George? Or guys that especially took a stance and was so adamant about coming to use their platform. Now, George Floyd piece happened. They had time to make a decision and figure this out. Yeah. They decided collectively, I'm sure some, reluctantly, but collectively they said, look, we're going to play. You got the option not to play, but some dudes was like, nah, I got to play, right? So, okay, now you're here. Now this happens while you're in here. Yeah. So now you don't even really, like I said, have a chance to opt out or if you go home, you done. So it's just, I wonder how this is going to mentally affect dudes. And we talk about mental health, how is that going to play in their psyche? Because now you want to do something. Okay, they took a day off, but guess what? In a couple of days, they're going to expect you to be back on that court. They're going to expect you to be back playing. And so now it's dang, you know what I mean? How can I concentrate on that?
they had a couple press conferences, and some of the coaches came out, and some of the players, I know Van Fleet, their starting point guard for the Raptors, was like, man, why we even here? Like, it's time to go. Like, I ain't trying to be here no more. It's like, I don't even know why we here. And somebody else came out like, this is exactly what we knew was going to happen. We up here hooping, stuff still going on, and now the people with the voices are in this bubble, right? And so he's like, we can't even go support or do anything. Yeah. When you was talking about, you know, the average man, you know, his working, his 9-to-5 working, job, just stress in life, in his own bubble and all these different things in mental health. So you take everything that you said, and then you throw on the fact that as soon as I get in my car and I'm driving, if I'm caught in the wrong situation or they get the wrong information and I get pulled over or I'm confronted by a police officer, literally I could lose my life. And so you get in your car nervous, you get in your car afraid, like you walk around afraid, and then you got to have the conversations with your kids and your family. And when you walk out the house, that becomes part of the routine prayer. I pray that my husband comes back or my son comes back and is not confronted. And so most people will say, well, that's a little bit extreme, or you're exaggerating a little bit too much. But the reality of it is, as a black male specifically, and obviously you throw in Breonna Taylor and black female, but as a black male, that is the reality. And so for us, it's almost like it's normal. Like, hey, this is something that could possibly happen. Be prepared for this. And that's the part that's a problem. And the fact, again, that murder or killing a person can be justified by he was walking away. Like, when, again, the value of life. Like, just because he was walking away, he deserved to die. He deserved to get shot. He deserved to have a knee in his neck because he wasn't, you know what I mean? Like, there's so many different, and you could watch as much as you want, but you cannot justify losing a life specifically on an unarmed person. So their platform is different right now, because now, so it happened baseball too. All right, so the Milwaukee Brewers and the Cincinnati Reds canceled their Thursday game. Again, same thing, same instance. But to your point, it's always, okay, what's the next piece of the puzzle? But again, until the right people make it a priority, it's just going to be a lot of dialogue, a lot of conversation, a lot of Zoom calls, a lot of board meetings, a lot of emails being put out. And then it's like we're back to business as usual. And everybody has to do their thing. But there are certain people that are doing things consistently on that level that need the help and the support of the people that may have their own mission statements and things that they have to do. And so you start with something small and you just watch it grow, man. But you have to do something versus just talking about it and taking notes. Anyway, it's been a crazy week. Kobe Bryant's birthday was on Tuesday, 8/24, if my dates are right. And a lot of shout outs, a lot of Kobe videos on all the social media, a lot of wallpapers, a lot of pictures, a lot of memories, a lot of people sharing. What's crazy is it feels like that was like a long time ago. And that was just like in February.
That's because so much has happened.
You know what I'm saying?
So much has happened, and so it's crazy. So much has happened, and so little has happened.
Man,
right? It's been so much, but we've been
it's
like
been the longest year ever,
confined to almost doing nothing, which makes it longer. It's been crazy.
Kobe Bryant dies. COVID hits the next month. George Floyd a couple months after that, and now we're here.
Right.
Like, election in November. Go vote. Make sure you vote. Make sure you register to vote, by the way.
It's crazy, man. Well, in honor of Kobe, man, I named my vehicle the Black Mamba.
It's good, man.
So I just be snaking through the city.
All right.
You know what I'm saying?
You better be careful with that.
I know, right? Get pulled over. Selfish. Hey, man, you know what's like, I know that's a stress, you know, and I try not to add more stress to myself. So, you know, we definitely just I try to move the right way, but it's almost like when you get hurt playing ball, right? And the worst thing you can do when you get hurt is come back timid.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you come back timid, you come back ginger, because 9 times out of 10, you probably gonna get hurt again if you acting like that, right? Like, you need to come back and you need to, like, Get it out your psyche,
Right.
you know what I mean? And you just need to go back and you need to play. And so I kind of take that approach to the situation and everything that we're going through, but I'm going to go out and I'm going to move the way I move, you know, but I'm not going to like add this extra layer of pressure and stress on my life, questioning every movement and every second. You know what I mean? You know, I stay ready, so I ain't got to get ready. So I kind of know how I would handle myself in certain situations. Not to say that I got the perfect solution or answer, but all I'm saying is, you know, it's unfortunate that we have to have this pressure and stress and this level of fear, so to speak. But at the same time, you know, you can certainly try to minimize it. You know what I mean? By number one, just kind of do what you're supposed to do and not put yourself in certain positions. But then number two, man, just, you know, at the end of the day, man, things happen for a reason. And strong believer in that. Obviously, believer in our Heavenly Father, and He doesn't make a mistake. We might not be able to understand, and we certainly sometimes question why. You know what I mean? But everything happens for a reason. And this incident, all the incidents leading up to this, all the things that have happened over the last 100 years have happened for a reason. And, you know, I definitely think that we are moving.
Yeah.
We're at least, we've positioned ourselves, like we've tilted the needle a little bit. You know what I mean? And sometimes that's the first step. You know what I mean? I think, you know, one of the things that I like to share, like when we talk about sports analogy, I like to say halftime, you get a chance to review, reset, and refuel. And so I think, you know, we've reviewed what has happened over the last century.
Right.
You know, a couple hundred years. We've had a chance to review that. We had a chance to see what has happened and what hasn't worked and what has worked. Like we've been reviewing and we've been talking and I think now we're at a point where we're starting to reset.
Yeah.
Like reset ourselves, reset the way we're thinking a little bit, reset our perspectives, reset our minds, reset, you know, some of the proper protocols and, you know, the laws and things in certain instances. So we're kind of at that point where we're starting to reset a little bit. We're not all the way there. Not everybody is reset. Not everybody is there, but we're moving in that direction. We need to continue to do that. And then the most important thing is the refuel, though. Like this whole next half of our lives and our generation and generations to come in the next, you know, 100 years, we have to be in this mentality of refueling. Like we have to now refuel up to go and continue to fight this fight. You know what I mean? So, you know, review, reset, refuel is kind of where we at, man. And I would say we're at this halftime mark. You know what I mean? Like, okay, what is the next half going to look like? What is that going to look like for you individually? What's that going to look like for your company? Like, what is that going to look like? And the cool thing that we always talk about when we talk about halftime is we always, no matter what the score is, we always come out the locker room and say what?
0-0.
It's 0-0.
0-0.
The score is 0-0. No matter what has happened, yes, you know, we've been underserved. Yes, you know what I mean? We, you know, been a lot of injustice. The score
down
is,
by a lot.
But now the score is 0-0. Like I got a chance in second half to come out, man, and fight. Fight, right? And still win the game. Still come out and be on top. But we got to do that collectively. It can't just be the African American, the black community. It can't just, like, everybody has to come out. Yo, this is second half. We coming out. We're going to reset the score, reset the playing field, recalibrate. And we got to come out, man, and we got to fight this second half, man.
That's good.
And if we do that, man, we you know, we have a fair chance. Just put ourselves in position to succeed. Just put ourselves in position, man, and it starts with that reset.
That's
got to reset.
Speaking of reset and refuel, that was excellent, by the way. It's real good. Wish I had a pen and paper. I would have been taking notes, but
nice.
I know your notes,
easy,
so you know.
Easy money.
School started back in Columbus for the most part this week, and this is real quick. But my kids started. You know, they're at home right now, online. You know, homeschool or whatnot.
I just figured out what we're gonna do with my daughter. I mean, it's been crazy.
Yeah. So, and everything went well. Zoom crashed earlier in the week around the country, you know, or around the world. I don't know because so many people logged on. But what I just wanted to say is, just from what I've seen from the last 3 days, man, our teachers are doing an excellent job across the board. Definitely in the state of Ohio, but I know in Columbus, a lot of the suburbs have started. Columbus City starts in about a week or so, but even those, we're on some of those calls and some of those email blasts and all the preparations they're having and learning extension centers and all these different things that they're trying to put in place for the kids. But I know for the school that my kids go to, the teachers have been awesome and wonderful, and it's been going extremely well, and our kids like it. I don't know if that's going to change education moving forward. Like, man, some kids could just be at home and they don't have to, because some kids probably learn better. I promise you that if I'm around, that my son and daughter will have better grades with me downstairs and them at their desks doing their work, and I can kind of keep them accountable than they would if they just sitting in class next to their friends. So if you have that flexibility, it's cool. But I just wanted to send a shout out to the teachers before we got off here. Oh, and to remind you guys to subscribe if you're watching this on YouTube. We should have told you that in the beginning, because that's what they say you should do. Tell them at the beginning and then at the end. But
we tell you when we tell you when we want to tell you.
Listen, we live right now anyway, so just go ahead and share this. Share this, keep commenting, share it. Just hit, all you gotta do is hit the share button, not the like button, just hit the share button, right? And or take the link and then send it to one of your friends when you're listening to it on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and all that.
One last thing before we jump off, man, as we talking about kids, the boys leadership, youth development, all right? Good. Make sure y'all check out, you can check out Boys Are Leaders. .com, boys are ARE leaders.com. We are hosting a development virtual training platform. Hopefully our Zoom software doesn't crash on us, but we have a special training coming out for young men, 5th through 8th grade. Every single week, man, we're on there. We're training them in similar fashions, just like this, speaking life, all right, speaking real life to them, all right, real characteristic traits, accountability, resiliency, humility, all those great things, education pieces as well. So go on, check that out, man. If you know, or would like to sponsor a young boy, young man, all right, to continue to better himself and grow into a great young person and great men in this world, because we need us, right? We need us to continue to fight this fight, man. Every human is important, every life is important, and we have to continue to build each other. So anyway, boysareleaders.com, check us out and sign a young person up that you may know that could receive some value and understand their value. No better time than now for our young people to know their value. Now, don't wait till they're 20 and 30 and 40 and they're trying to get a deal with the organization want to come out to speak, and then they got to, they're questioning their value, how much they're worth. Now, we're going to teach you at as young as 5th grade. We're going to let you know how much you're worth and your value, so that no one can ever undermine that. Boysareleaders.com.
That's good, man.
Yes, sir.
Always ready.
Easy.
He's so good, I'm so grateful, he's so good. Hey, life is but a dream no matter what you've been through. Replace the fake around you, but some friends pretend to. Working hard because no matter what the rent's due.